2 years ago, a billionaire lost the biggest deal of his life, not because his numbers were wrong, but because he insulted powerful executives in a language he didn't understand. He thought the damage was permanent, until his quiet black maid corrected his German with flawless precision, like she had been in those rooms before. That was the moment he realized the woman he ignored every day might be the only person who can save his empire. But then the executives agreed to meet again, with one condition: she must be there. And the same night, a blocked number texted her 5 chilling words: "I know you're in New York." Now the billionaire has to choose: protect her and risk his entire company, or let her walk away and watch everything collapse. Because Zora is not just helping him win a deal, she is walking back into the nightmare she barely escaped. And this time, the past is not coming for her money, it's coming for her life. Adrian Vale walked into his penthouse like a man carrying bad news inside his ribs. His suit was perfect, his tie still tight, but his hand shook when he tossed his keys onto the marble counter. The sound landed too loud, too sharp, like the apartment itself had flinched. He paced the kitchen, jaw clenched, eyes unfocused, whispering to himself as if repeating the meeting could change the outcome. They're withdrawing. Cold. Final. That was the sentence that kept looping. The Keller-Hartman Group had been his biggest chance in years. A cross-Atlantic partnership that would push Vale Meridian into a new tier, not just profit, but prestige. Adrian had built his whole life on deals like this, on reading rooms, on controlling tone, on being the man who never missed. So why did he miss this? The worst part was not the money. It was the confusion. Half the call had been in clipped German, formal and fast. Adrian had smiled at the right moments, nodded, even thrown in a few phrases he thought sounded confident. He believed he was tracking everything. Clearly, he was not. He leaned both hands on the counter and breathed through his teeth, trying to keep his pride from turning into panic. That was when he finally noticed the quiet presence in the hallway. Nadia Brooks stood half-hidden near the doorway, like she belonged to the walls. She was his maid, his housekeeper, the woman who moved like air and rarely spoke unless asked. Most days, Adrian barely registered her. Tonight, something was different. She looked at him with a strange stillness, not pity, not fear. Something else, like recognition. Adrian's eyes narrowed. "You heard that call," he said. It was not a question. It was a statement shaped like one. Nadia did not answer right away. Her fingers gripped the edge of the door frame. Not hard, just enough to show she was holding herself in place. Adrian stepped closer, his voice dropping. "You understood what they said." Nadia's silence stretched. 2 seconds, 3. Long enough to make the room feel colder. Then she spoke, soft but clear. "They were not offended by your numbers," she said. "They were offended by you." Adrian froze like he had been hit, not in the body, but in the ego. His eyes sharpened with disbelief. "What does that mean?" he asked, but his voice had lost its bite. Nadia finally looked him in the eye. Her gaze was level, steady, and in that moment, she did not look like a maid at all. "In their culture, there is an order," she said. "You skip the formal greeting. You address the wrong person first. You laughed during their proverb. You interrupted their board chair to make a point." Adrian blinked. "That's," he started, then stopped. "That's what happened." "Yes," she said. "You broke protocol before you even pitched." The words landed one by one, clean and sharp. Adrian's stomach twisted, not because she was wrong, but because she was right, and he had not even known the rules of the room he walked into. "How do you know that?" he demanded. Nadia's face did not change, but something old flickered behind her eyes, like a memory she tried not to touch. "I used to be in rooms like that," she said. Adrian stared at her. You worked with Keller Hartman, he asked. Nadia nodded once. Years ago, under a different name, she added. The kitchen went quiet, but it was not empty quiet. It was the kind of quiet that holds a secret too heavy to sit comfortably. Adrian took a slow breath. Then why are you here? He asked. And for the first time, his tone was not CEO sharp. It was human confused. Nadia did not answer. She looked at him, and Adrian saw something that made his chest tighten. Effort. It had taken effort for her to become invisible. He thought about the months she had been here. Cleaning, folding, serving coffee, moving through his life like she was part of the furniture. He had assumed she was quiet, because that was her nature. Now he realized it might have been her strategy. You could have stopped me, Adrian said, a low blame in his voice. You heard me prepping. You saw my deck. Nadia's reply was calm, almost gentle. And would you have listened? She asked. Adrian opened his mouth, then closed it. Because the truth was simple and ugly. He would not have. Not then. Maybe not ever, until desperation finally stripped away his arrogance. Nadia turned slightly, as if to leave, then paused. You did not just lose a contract, she said. You showed them, and you showed me, who you think matters in a room. She did not say it with anger. She said it with clarity. That was worse. Adrian stood there as she walked away, and he felt something shift inside him. Something he could not label yet. Fear. Yes, fear of collapse. But also something else. The uneasy awareness that he had missed the most important person in his own home. That night, Adrian did not sleep. At 2 a.m., he was at his laptop, searching for Nadia Brooks. Nothing made sense. No clean public records, no clear work history, no trail that fit her voice, her posture, her obvious intelligence. It was as if someone had erased her from every system. By dawn, his eyes burned and his mind was wired. When Nadia entered the kitchen, calm as always, Adrian slid a folder across the counter. Inside, it was empty. Nadia stared at the blank pages, and her throat moved like she swallowed something bitter. Adrian watched her hands, and for the first time, he saw them tremble. I looked for you, he said quietly. All night. You are not there. Nadia slowly sat across from him without invitation, her face settling into something harder than calm. You want the truth? She asked. Adrian nodded once. I did not disappear because I wanted to, Nadia said. I disappeared because I had to. She took a breath, then continued, voice steady but low. I used to negotiate high-risk corporate deals, she said. Not just language, culture, protocol, trust. I worked with people like Keller Hartman. I helped shape how rooms like that function. Adrian's jaw tightened. What happened? He asked, careful now. Nadia's eyes dropped to the blank folder. My husband, she said. Grant Mercer. The name sounded like a door locking. He was in finance, Nadia continued. Smart, charming, dangerous. He used my access, my relationships, my credibility. He moved money through shell companies while I was the face people trusted. Adrian's hands clenched on the edge of the table. When I started asking questions, he threatened me, Nadia said. And my daughter. Adrian's head lifted. You have a child, he asked. Nadia nodded. She is 7 now, she said. When I tried to report him, the pressure became personal. I ran, changed names, burned every connection. I went from boardrooms to cleaning floors because being unseen felt safer than being powerful. Silence filled the space between them, thick and aching. Adrian felt shame rise in him, not the shallow kind, the deeper kind that makes you realize you have been blind by choice. He stared at her, and his voice came out rough. Does he know you are here? He asked. Nadia's eyes sharpened. No, she said, and I want it to stay that way. Adrian nodded slowly. I will make sure of it, he said, and he surprised himself with how certain he sounded. Nadia stood, steadying her hands against the counter, then looked at him like she was deciding something. If I step back into that world, she said, it will not be as your maid. Adrian swallowed. What do you want? He asked. Nadia's gaze held his. To be treated as an equal, she said, with real authority, real protection, and no shadows. Adrian did not answer right away because he realized this was not just a business decision. It was a choice that would change both of their lives. And before he could say anything else, Nadia's phone buzzed in her pocket, a single vibration, quiet but sharp. She looked at the screen. Her face drained. Adrian saw it. Nadia's voice turned thin. It's a blocked number, she whispered. She stared at the message like it was a blade. I know you're in New York. Nadia did not scream. She did not cry. She simply lowered the phone like her hands had suddenly become too heavy to lift. Adrian took one step closer, carefully, like a man approaching an open flame. Grant, he said, the name coming out like a warning. Nadia gave a single nod. That means he's close, Adrian said. It means I'm visible again, Nadia replied, and her voice held something older than fear, something tired. Like she had been running so long, her body forgot what rest felt like. Adrian's first instinct was to command, to fix, to throw money at the problem, like money could build walls around danger. He stopped himself, because Nadia had already told him what she needed most, not control, not a savior, an equal. So tell me what you want, Adrian said. Not what you think I want to hear, what you need. Nadia's eyes lifted. I want my daughter safe, she said, and I want to stop living like a ghost. Adrian nodded, then moved fast. Not loud, not dramatic, just precise. He called his legal counsel quietly. He brought in a private security team that specialized in discreet protection. He assigned a cyber investigator to trace the blocked number without triggering alerts. He did not make promises he could not keep. He made plans. Still, Nadia watched him with caution. You can help, she said, but do not use my fear to own my choices. Adrian's throat tightened. I hear you, he said. You lead, I support. That was the first time he said it, and meant it. The next morning, Nadia arrived at Vale Meridian headquarters wearing a tailored charcoal suit. She walked through the lobby like someone who knew every hidden rule of the building, even though most people still remembered her as the woman who used to clean their conference rooms at night. Heads turned. Whispers rose. Nadia did not shrink. Adrian had told the staff one simple thing. She is senior strategic advisor. Treat her accordingly. But culture did not change in one announcement. It changed in 1,000 small moments. So Nadia created those moments. She sat with Adrian's executive team and replayed the failed Keller-Hartman call, not to humiliate them, but to educate them. She paused the recording and explained the invisible architecture of respect, the order of names, the weight of titles, the rhythm of silence. Ethan Cole, Adrian's sharpest executive, tried to challenge her once. Nadia met his eyes. In your world, she said calmly, confidence is loud. In theirs, confidence is restraint. If you cannot learn that, you cannot win. Ethan went quiet. Adrian watched, and something inside him shifted again, from awe to trust. They drafted a formal letter in German, not begging, not pleading, acknowledging missteps with dignity. Nadia shaped each sentence like it mattered, because in that world, it did. When Adrian hesitated before sending it, Nadia placed her hand lightly on the back of his, just 1 second, steady and grounding. He pressed send. 48 hours later, the reply came. We accept a private follow-up meeting in New York. Nadia Brooks must be present. Adrian read it twice, then looked up. They asked for you, he said. Nadia's face did not brighten. It tightened. That means they remember me, she said. And that's bad, Adrian realized. It can be, Nadia replied. The meeting took place in a private boardroom at a quiet hotel, chosen for discretion. Dr. Otto Hartman entered with 2 legal advisors and a senior delegate, all calm, all formal, all assessing. Dr. Hartman did not greet Adrian first. He walked straight to Nadia and extended his hand. Miss Brooks, he said, his English clean and measured. It has been a long time. Nadia shook his hand firmly. Dr. Hartman, she replied. Thank you for coming. Adrian felt the shift in power, not because he lost it, but because he finally saw what true influence looked like. Nadia was not loud. She was undeniable. The meeting moved in controlled steps, questions asked in layers, answers tested for consistency. Nadia translated meaning beneath words. Adrian followed her lead, staying measured, respectful, and humble, even when his instincts begged him to dominate the room. When Dr. Hartman introduced the concept of a consortium, a high-visibility partnership across multiple continents, Adrian's eyes widened, but he kept his voice steady. That would make us more than vendors, he said. Yes, Dr. Hartman replied. It would make you accountable. Then came the line that made Nadia's stomach turn. Every participating partner must pass independent integrity audits, Dr. Hartman said. Nadia heard the word integrity like it was aimed at her past, at every reason she ran. She stayed calm. Adrian glanced at her, just once, and she gave a small nod, like she was telling him, we can face this. When the meeting ended, Dr. Hartman spoke a short sentence in German to Nadia alone, his voice low. Nadia answered, equally low. Then he left without even looking back at Adrian. Outside the room, Adrian exhaled, a little shaky. You were undeniable, he said. Nadia's eyes softened, just slightly. That was the idea, she replied. Then her phone buzzed again. Nadia checked it, and her shoulders stiffened like her body recognized danger before her mind could frame it. Adrian watched her face change. This time it was not just a text. It was a photo. A distant shot of her daughter outside school. Adrian's voice turned sharp. Where is she right now? He asked. Safe, Nadia whispered, but her breath shook. For now. Adrian took the phone gently from her hand, not to control, but to see. His jaw clenched. He is telling you he can reach her, Adrian said. Nadia nodded, eyes wet, but steady. And he is telling me to run again, she said. Adrian handed the phone back. No, he said quietly, not this time. That night, Adrian did something he never would have done before. Something with no cameras, no performance, no ego. He sat outside the guest room where Nadia's daughter slept, on the floor, back against the wall, keeping watch. When Nadia stepped out and saw him there, she froze. Adrian looked up. I'm not here to own your fear, he said softly. I'm here so you don't carry it alone. Nadia stared at him for a long time, then nodded once, and went back inside. For the first time since the message arrived, she slept. The next morning, Nadia made a decision that felt like stepping onto a bridge she once burned. She would not run. She would end it. Adrian met her in the kitchen with coffee he barely knew how to make, his tie loose, his eyes tired. Tell me what you need, he said. Nadia's voice was firm. I need my past to stop being a weapon, she said. I kept evidence, in case I ever had the courage to use it. Adrian nodded. Then we use it, he said. Nadia opened a digital vault she had not touched in years. Encrypted files, transaction maps, Emails, account trails, names that did not belong to public records. Proof of laundering routes. Proof of manipulation. Proof that Grant Mercer had used her credibility as cover. She did not cry while she sent the files to investigators. Her hands trembled, yes, but her mind stayed focused. Adrian stayed close without hovering. He brought experts, legal support, cyber support, and most importantly, patience. When Nadia needed quiet, he gave quiet. When she needed a plan, he built one with her, not for her. The authorities traced the number and the photo metadata. The trail did not lead directly to Grant, not yet, but it led to a familiar courier named Nadia remembered from the darkest part of her old life. Miles Kincaid. That's his runner, Nadia said. If you get Miles, you get the door to Grant. The sting was arranged in silence. A controlled exchange, a fake drop, a clean trap. Nadia insisted on being present, not in the field, but in the room where decisions were made. I am done being the person things happen to, she said. Adrian looked at her and nodded. Then you lead, he said. The operation happened in a hotel lobby. Miles arrived first, briefcase in hand, scanning the room like someone who believed he was invisible. Agents closed in, smooth and fast. He resisted for 1 second, then gave up. When they searched the briefcase, they found what they needed: burner phones, coded notes, payment slips, and one message thread that led straight to Grant Mercer. Within hours, Grant was located and arrested quietly, not in a dramatic chase, but in the way dangerous people often fall: sudden, clean, undeniable. Nadia watched the news alert on a secure screen. She did not smile. She just breathed, like her lungs finally remembered what breathing was for. That night, Nadia sat on the edge of the sofa in Adrian's penthouse, her daughter asleep in the guest room, safe behind layers of protection that felt real this time, not temporary. Adrian sat across from her, hands clasped, voice low. "I'm sorry," he said. Nadia's brows lifted slightly. "For what?" she asked. "For not seeing you," Adrian said. "For letting you live in my home like you had to be small to be safe." Nadia stared at him, then looked away, not because she was angry, but because the truth of that apology was heavy. "You're learning," she said quietly. "That matters." Adrian swallowed. "And you," he said. "You're not running anymore." Nadia nodded. "I'm not," she agreed. Weeks later, Keller Hartman confirmed the consortium deal, pending final audits. Vale Meridian passed, not just on paper, but in reputation, because Adrian publicly adopted a new standard of cultural respect, ethical transparency, and partnership. At the company gala, Adrian stood at the microphone and did something his old self would have avoided. He named his failure. Then he named the person who changed him. "Nadia Brooks," he said, voice steady, "is not a background figure in my story. She is the reason this company is still standing. She is my equal and my partner." The room rose, applause spreading like a wave. Nadia stood near the back, not hiding, just watching. Her daughter sat in the front row, eyes wide, hands pressed together like she was trying not to explode with pride. When Adrian invited Nadia forward, she walked through the crowd in a deep blue gown that looked simple until you noticed how confidently she wore it. The whispers were different now. Not doubt, respect. Later, after the guests left, Adrian led Nadia to a quiet office on a high floor. Glass walls, city lights, a desk that faced the skyline. On the desk sat a small box. Nadia opened it carefully. Inside was a clean gold nameplate. Nadia Brooks, partner. Her breath caught. The last time she had something with her name on it, she had burned it for survival. Now her name was not a risk. It was a claim. Adrian watched her face. Careful. "This is not a gift," he said. "It's what should have been true from the beginning." Nadia set the nameplate down gently, then looked at him. "You asked me once why I was here," she said. Adrian nodded. Nadia stepped closer, her voice quiet. "At first I was here to hide," she said. "Then I was here to protect my daughter. Now," she paused, "now I'm here because I want to build something real, something I don't have to run from." Adrian's throat tightened. He did not rush her. He did not grab her. He simply stepped closer until they were near enough to feel each other's breath. "Then we build it," he said. Nadia held his gaze, then nodded once, like signing a contract that mattered more than business. They did not need dramatic vows. They just stood there, close, quiet, present. Two people who learned the hard way what respect really meant. And for the first time in years, Nadia felt safe without having to disappear. Dear viewers, this story is a reminder that real power is not about how loud you speak. It is about who you choose to see. Sometimes, the most important voice in the room is the one we have ignored for too long, and sometimes humility is the only thing that can save what pride almost destroys. If this story touched you, tell us in the comments, what part stayed with you the most? Was it Zora finding her voice again, or the billionaire learning to step back and listen? Also, tell us where you are watching from. We love reading every single one of your comments. Please remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who believes kindness, respect, and courage still matter. Your support helps us keep bringing you deep, emotional stories like this. And before you go, answer these 3 questions in the comments. Have you ever been underestimated because of where you stood? Do you believe true leadership comes from control or humility? And if you were in Zora's place, would you have stayed or walked away? If you want more stories like this, comment "more stories," and you will be the first to get our next emotional upload.